Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm a certified personal trainer.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist.
And this is a podcast dedicated to educating women on their journey to optimal health. There's so much that we can do to optimize our health, but we've talked to so many women who just simply don't know how.
These conversations are what inspired us to start Omnia Fit. The Omnia Fit podcast is all about interviewing certified professionals to educate women on improving our health. We'll talk about things like stress relief through exercise, what we need to know about our hormones, the truth behind fad diets, and more. So subscribe, follow along, and let us know if there are any topics you want to hear more about. Hello, and welcome to the Omnia Fit podcast. I am Kate. You've heard me in previous episodes as the co-founder of Omnia Fit. And today I am here talking to Steph, the founder of Omnia Fit, who started it all. And we are just going to run through sort of her background, what makes her passionate about fitness and being a personal trainer, and any other questions that you might have about personal trainers. We hope to have it covered here. So let's get started and hear all about Steph's career as a personal trainer.
So Steph, you are a personal trainer. Do you kind of want to start us off talking about what is a personal trainer? What does a personal trainer do?
Yeah, so a personal trainer, simplest, is someone that helps you exercise. A lot of people think, or kind of the stigma out there is like someone who just like has a clipboard and counts your reps and that's about it. But a good personal trainer is someone who helps you hit a goal, and that's different for everybody. Some people go as extreme as you have trainers for Olympic athletes, but then you also have trainers who specialize in what I specialize in, and it's just getting people starting off. Like if you don't know anything about working out, you don't know what to do. Some people are nervous to start working out, it's confusing, it's overwhelming, or just need accountability. So that's where I come in. So there's really a range of what personal trainers can do, but it's ultimately helping people exercise with science, with intentionality. Is that a word? With intention?
I'm not sure.
With intention.
We'll go with it.
Help exercise with intention. And doing it safely and specifically for people's individual bodies.
Right, and you do that in a few different formats, right? So you do like group settings, individual settings. Can you kind of talk about like what the difference is between those two?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different types of trainers actually. So you can be a certified personal trainer and do a plethora of things. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, like you said, that's kind of the bulk of where I spent my time. But then I also do semi-private group classes, where basically that's just a couple gyms that I work at. That's the format that they provide, where they cap their classes at like 10 to 12 people. You know, it's not those classes where you have 30 to 40 people squeezed in a gym, especially now in the pandemic not doing that. But even beforehand, they cap it at a smaller number, so you can really, it's semi-private, so you can focus on individual people more, focus on their form a little bit more, and it's a little bit less of a jumping around on a microphone, giving people a good sweat. But then that's also another form of group fitness where it is a bigger room. Some people love that. It's really to your individual preference. You can also have virtual classes or online coaching, one-on-one or group classes. That's also a thing. I do a blend of all of that, but sometimes you can meet people, like if you go to your local boot camp gym, all of those people are supposed to be certified personal trainers, or they do one-on-ones individually.
Nice. Okay, so what are some reasons why people seek out a personal trainer?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to, like I said, trainers specialize in different things, and that's because people need different things. So like I mentioned before, some people need a personal trainer to help them achieve a really high goal, whether that's, again, to be an Olympic athlete, or even if they're a big power lifter, bodybuilders have personal trainers. So if they're going for a specific goal, like really, really big, like high level goal, I guess you could call it. Or some people, I know lots of runners who have personal trainers because there's a lot of, running takes a toll on your body, and then there's cross training. So how do you train specifically for your body? There's people who want to lose weight There's people who are coming off of an injury or coming out of physical therapy where they want to exercise safely and take care of their bodies and not get re-injured, or just educate themselves a little bit more on how to train for their specific body type. Or it's just as simple as accountability. To be totally honest, I have some people who have told me that, you know, they're great, their form's great every time. I always joke like, oh, you're such an easy client. And they're like, yeah, but I wouldn't do this if you weren't standing next to me making me do it. So some people just simply want accountability.
Just the motivation factor.
Yeah, exactly. Where they're paying for that time. I mean, that's part of it too. Like some people, like if I paid for it, I paid for that session, I have a late cancel fee if I don't show up or if I cancel last minute. So it forces me to go do it. Some people really need that.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely when someone decides that they kind of want to dive into maybe seeing if a personal trainer is a good fit for them, what are some things that they should be looking for when they seek out a personal trainer?
Yeah, a big thing is certifications, because it gets a little tricky here because it's not as simple as the highest certification is the best. You know, it's definitely one of those professions where, unlike dietetics, it's not a requirement to get a master's or go through a lot of intensive schooling. And finding someone who has could be great, but it also is one of those careers where it's really, really good to find someone who has experience. So whether they have a master's or not, really important to find someone with experience, but at the bare minimum, they at least need a certification. And unfortunately, there's a lot of platforms out there where if you Google personal trainers near me, there's like those platforms that pop up like, let's help you find a personal trainer. And people who sign up for those, I've honestly found clients on those. But they don't require people to have certifications. Like literally anyone could sign up and go on those. Yeah.
I don't think I even knew that.
Yeah. Yep. It's so easy. Like it's kind of like we were talking about like people say like, oh, I'm a nutritionist, like I can write you a plan, but you're not a dietitian. Like you're technically not supposed to. A lot of people do that with training too. Like there's someone who themselves has lost a lot of weight, or they were a varsity athlete and they're like, oh, I know how to work out, so I'm gonna be a trainer.
Yeah.
But they don't actually take any studies for it. So having at least like bare minimum certification is good.
Yeah.
I'm certified through NASM, National Academy for Sports Medicine. That's what a lot of people consider one of the top tier certifications. There's also ACE and a few others that are really good too. So definitely research, like you can even look up what their certifications mean, what it took for them to complete that certification. So Google's also a good friend. So like I said, so bare minimum, having at least a certification. If they have a master's or some sort of further degree, amazing, not necessary. Whether they do or don't, make sure they have some sort of experience and ask them about their experience. Yeah. You know, did they have 3 years of training experience, but it was all in group fitness? Because that's a little bit different than one-on-one. Or if you have a specific problem, or you're severely obese, or something very specific, has that trainer had experience with that before?
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm kind of blabbering on, but basically like make sure they're educated, make sure they have experience, and don't be afraid to question them on exactly what you need and making sure they've experienced or can at least speak to confidently and like understanding what you're going through and that they can have a solution to help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So kind of going off of that, actually, I know we talked about me in terms of a dietitian, how social media kind of plays into that. So do you have that ever come up with clients where they come to you like, oh, I saw this girl on TikTok and she lost 30 pounds by walking on the treadmill at this incline. Should I just be doing that instead of doing these classes? Like, does that ever come up in your day-to-day?
It does sometimes, where people see like, oh, like this move like seems crazy. It's more like they see crazy moves, because I feel like social media with fitness, it's people like trying to do the next crazy thing just to like get shared and views, and which some of those things are cool. And like as a trainer, I honestly see them, and I'm a fitness professional, so I see them and I'm like, I'm gonna try that out. Like that looks kind of fun. Like I'm gonna do it. So I have people who like share them with me or say like, this seems ridiculous. Why would anyone ever do it? So it's less like I see someone who's done this and it worked for them. Because it's honestly not really what you see much on social media, at least what I've seen. If you've seen different, let me know. Maybe my algorithm's different.
My algorithm is different.
What's your algorithm? Like, what does it show you a lot?
I see a lot of like people who are influencers and maybe have like a collaboration with a clothing brand, and they have, you know, what workouts I do, and they say, you know, I'm not a personal trainer, but here's what I do. And it's kind of similar to like what you were saying, like technically they shouldn't be doing that, but it's out there.
Or it's like, that's a puzzle piece in it, but it's not the full thing you should be doing. Yeah. So yeah, my algorithm's definitely like the kettlebell complexes and things like that a trainer would be looking at. No, I haven't had anyone ask me about that, but that's always been, I guess I haven't had clients, but I've had friends ask me about it. That's probably a better way to go with this.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, I've seen this challenge, or I've seen, probably how people ask you like, oh, I've seen this fad diet, like, should I do it? And my answer is always, honestly, the simplest thing to do, and this is even advice just to like get started in working out, if you're moving your body and you're not hurting yourself and you're having fun with it, it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna get a 6-pack from walking on an incline on the treadmill? No. But that's even like, do you even want a 6-pack? Like, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's more like friends asking me about like doing specific things and quick fixes, and it's the conversation of, well, what do you actually want to achieve? Why do you want to achieve it? And usually explaining like that's part of the puzzle, but there's all these other pieces to it too.
So what, in your opinion, makes a good trainer? What's the breakdown of what makes someone a good trainer?
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of answer this in a way of like, if someone was like interviewing a trainer, like having an initial consultation, like asking them questions, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's say like bouncing off of the previous question, if you're looking for a personal trainer, what makes a good personal trainer?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think these are gonna seem silly to start, but it's so true. Like, general business skills are really important. Like, I actually joke with some of my trainer friends that it's really sad, but it's actually a differentiator for us to be good communicators and like good at following up, good at like actually responding and scheduling meetings, sending calendar invites with a link to an invite, like a Zoom or whatever. Like, it's sad, but like if they're a terrible communicator, like, do you want to be chasing down your trainer? You know, like, they are someone who's supposed to be coaching you and supporting you. So that, it seems silly, but that's honestly number one thing. Like, unfortunately, it doesn't have anything to do with their ability as a trainer, but it's still a business owner and they're supplying you a service. Like, make sure they communicate well with you.
Yeah.
And another one that's also probably going to seem silly is personality. Like, I know me, for example, I'm very bubbly. I can be a lot. I'm super energetic, and that could piss someone off. Like, if they are vibing with that, like, you're not going to pay the money you pay for a personal trainer to hang out with someone for an hour that you just don't like for whatever reason.
Right.
Nothing personally, but like, you just need to find someone that fits your vibe too. Like, this is someone that's helping you, that you're spending a lot of time with every single week, that's helping you achieve something really personal. Again, whether it's losing weight or a big goal that you have, whatever it may be. So you need to like them. So don't discount like how well your personality's vibe.
Yeah.
So that's like high level, getting down to it. I would say ask them about their philosophies. So like, how do they set up their training? What does it look like? What does a typical session look like? For example, I always talk about how with my philosophies, tracking. So I talk about how closely I document things and how if it's a really analytical person, I can share those numbers with them and share, you know, all the weights that I track, all the movements, etc. Some people love that, some people don't, but I track it and they like knowing that I track it.
Yeah.
So that doing different physical assessments, different, meaning like different strength assessments, different cardiovascular assessments, different things just to gauge different areas of the body. You know, if you're only measuring how strong your chest is, like, you're gonna end up with a guy who has like really tiny legs and big upper body that we see in the gym. So some like looking for assessments, looking at ways basically to track progress is what I'm getting at. So asking about that, and then philosophies around how they're gonna keep you safe. Like, do they talk about conducting a proper warm up? Do they talk about scheduling time for a cool down? Because a lot of times people will, from the moment they start to the moment they stop, just go crazy and work out the whole time. But you need to slow down and warm your body up and get it prepared for that workout. Then you also need to cool it down and properly re-engage those systems to relax and unwind and start slowing down from the stress you just put on it.
Yeah.
So do they talk about that? Do they talk about how they're going to keep you safe, and do they talk about the importance of form and how they're going to slow things down? I always mention to my clients the first few sessions might seem a little slow and boring, but that's because I'd rather go slower and take the time to get to know you and your body versus just give you a crazy workout that might look fun, but can your body handle it? Is that safe to do? I don't know. I haven't seen your body work yet.
Right.
So I think listening to that caution, listening to that confidence, and I'm going to do what's best for you, and this is where you're going to trust me. I think there's that, and then I think, going back to the competence, asking them about their certifications. How many do they have? Do they continually, are they continually learning? I think that's a big thing. You get your certification, again, did they go on and get their master's, or did they get more certifications? Do they have some sort of, for me, one of my gyms, we get together every single month and just educate each other. Talk about the new certifications that we got, talk about the new concepts that we've learned about, talk about a new fad thing in the world. So we're constantly brainstorming and learning together. So I would kind of, the competencies and philosophies, getting into the actual, are they a good trainer?
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned kind of online platforms for this, but where do you recommend that people go to find a trainer, to find that good fit that you're talking about?
Yeah. So number one best place is a referral.
Yeah.
And not always possible for everybody, but if you know someone who had a personal trainer, know someone who, or even went to a gym, if you go to most gyms, most of those trainers are also, they do one-on-one training on the side. So whether it's a friend who goes to that gym, or again, a friend or a family member that had a personal trainer, getting a referral from them, someone that they trust, they've seen progress with, that's the best way to go about it. Or like I said, you could go to a gym, if there's a local gym that you know and trust, or again, a friend that they know and trust, go to the gym and ask them for referrals. They're professionals, they will either have people themselves that they'll recommend to you, or they might connect and work with a professional certified trainer. Other places, depending on what your goals are, could be if you're competing for something, for example, like bodybuilding, or why am I blanking on the others? Some sort of competition.
The marathon.
Yeah, exactly. Going to those sites, or even those competitions, a lot of them will have trainers that they'd recommend, this trainer's worked with this person, you can reach out to them. So you can go to those different communities, if it's CrossFit or something else that you're into, going to those communities, they'll have recommendations. If that's your goal. Weight loss, there's weight loss doctors or chiropractors, physical therapists, different offices that do with naturopaths, and there's so many wellness clinics out there. Going to any of those, asking your doctor if they have any referrals or know anyone, those are also great places to go. And then in a last case scenario, I would say to look online. Ironically, I've gotten most of my clients from finding me online, so it seems a little backwards. I'll just say they got lucky and found me instead of someone who's has never been certified and is just this kid out of high school that wants to train.
An ad. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But I would say referrals from someone that you trust, a person or a location that you trust.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, out of everything that you've done with personal training, what do you love the most about what you do?
I think my favorite, there's a couple different things. It all is involved with progress. I love, because I said, I target my niche, I never know how to say that word.
I think.
Niche.
Niche.
This is also like a vocab lesson because I keep messing up words and not knowing how to say things. I specialize, we'll say that. I specialize in beginners or people, whether they're brand new to working out or haven't worked out in a while, especially after this last year and a half. So basically helping people get going on their paths. I love, like for example, I've had a client where I had them do a glute bridge and they only felt it in their low back, no matter what modifications I gave or how I changed it, what cues I gave, and they just like were not engaging their glutes. And then after like a month of doing different things, had them go back to a glute bridge, and it was perfect. And then like a week later, they were like balancing on a balance ball and like one leg in the air with weight on, like crazy, but like progressing. I'm also, that's a client not in a gym, I'll mention that, so I have to get creative. We do outdoor workouts, but like just seeing their progression of when they're like, holy shit, this is hard. And I'm like, this is hard because we keep making every workout harder because you keep getting better.
Yeah.
And I remember like that client, using them as an example, like when they're doing that like single leg glute bridge on a stability pad, they're like, holy shit, this is hard. And I'm like, yeah, but remember a month and a half ago when it hurt to do a normal glute bridge with 2 feet on the ground and no stability pad and no weight?
Right.
And they're like, oh, yeah, like I forgot that I couldn't do that. So just seeing their progress and seeing that kind of realization of like, holy shit, and that's where like the tracking comes in, because we're pointing out like, again, like, holy shit, this chest press is hard. I'm like, yeah, well, you're doing it with 35 pounds. Like a month ago, you were doing this with 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, of course, it's still hard, but like, look at how much stronger you've gotten. So I think it's always like, they always have this face of this light bulb of, holy shit, like I am getting stronger. Like I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite. And it's also my favorite too, because people so often measure their success in fitness around how big their belly is, or like, how much fat they see on themselves, or more just looks.
Yeah.
But when you train for strength and for functionality and seeing what your body's capable of over those other things, it's so much more rewarding, way more exciting. People have so much more fun with it.
Yeah.
So like some people come in with that and it's great, but once you educate people, if they need the education or like kind of that mind shift change, and then they see that and they see that quick progress, I think that's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that ties into both of our mottos around health, really. Like, the more that we keep talking about it, just people's mindset has so much to do with it, and linking up with like that right mindset that's going to give you that healthy frame of mind around getting healthier.
Yeah, I think like when people talk about like getting healthy, they think about their fitness and nutrition.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in. Dietitian, personal trainer.
Yeah.
Seems like a very easy, like, oh, that's who I should go to. Absolutely still come to us. Like, I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
Please still come to us. But it honestly starts with mindset. Like, you could honestly, you could argue that like a therapist is your first step into getting physically healthy, because you need to have that mindset. You need to have that, positive mindset around what is your goal? Why are you doing it? And that's where, and I say therapist, kind of not, but like that's where a lot of my sessions start is, what is your goal? Why is that your goal? And let's say it's to lose weight. Okay,
Yeah.
Why is that your goal? Why do you want to lose weight? Why is that important to you? Okay, if this doesn't happen, what does that look like? What does your life look like in 6 months if this just doesn't happen? Like really digging down to why people want to do it.
Yeah.
Really getting them in that mindset of like, oh shit, this is really important to me, and it's beyond just how I look. It's more how I feel, or setting a good example for my kids, or my dad's pre-diabetic and I don't want to get there, or whatever else. So it always starts with mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think if anyone has any questions about personal training, or where to start, or if they want to like have us expand. These freaking words. I need to read more.
Expanded?
I don't know. I need to listen to more podcasts. I need to listen to more people talk, apparently. I don't know words. But if they have like questions or want us to expand on anything,
there we go.
we're talking about, I'd say just reach out on like info@omniafit.co, where they can get a hold of both of us and just ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I'm gonna keep that in.
Feeling inspired yet? We've got you covered. At the very end of the season, we'll be launching our Omnia Fit website. You'll be able to access a platform filled with on-demand workouts like yoga, HIIT, Zumba, bar, and more from several amazing instructors. You'll also have access to meal prepping tips, personalized grocery lists, and dozens of recipes given the official okay by our incredible dietitian, Kate.
Along with everything Stephanie mentioned, you'll also have access to schedule appointments with some of the licensed professionals featured in this season. Email info@omniafit.co to stay updated on our November launch date. You'll want to stay tuned because our first season listeners get their first month free. Just use promo code POD2021, that's POD 2021 to redeem.